Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Alice. I go by Hello Alice here on YouTube and I make art videos. So I have two exciting announcements in this video. So the first that I am super excited about is I am officially announcing, it's been sort of open for a while, but I'm officially announcing the opening of my Redbubble shop. So I will put the link in the description box below. I will actually do it this time, I promise, and it should be on the screen as well. And you can buy merch and prints there. There's a bunch of cute stuff. So this is actually one of the shirts that you can get. They do run true to size, so don't be like me and size up, because I sized up and this is actually like very long. But this is the Copic marker artwork that I did recently, like the fall one, and it comes in two different styles, but one of them is like this moon, which I think is really cool. So you can get t-shirts and there are like stickers. So I actually have, this one is a little beat up because I put it on my iPad a while ago and right over crease. But you can get like Hello Alice stickers with my logo. You can get Wonderlander stickers, Wonderlander journals, notebooks, t-shirts. There's just a bunch of stuff. So if you want to support me, if you are looking for Christmas gifts, then go check out my Redbubble. And yeah, I will also be uploading all the art that I make for this upcoming series onto my Redbubble. So now that I've told you about my merch, and now that I'm out of breath, I want to tell you about the start of this series. Hello, December. Hello. So my mom texted me like last month and she said, there's a Schminke advent calendar. Do you want it? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, I want that and I'm going to make videos about it. So it arrived. This is what it looks like. Oh, hello. It says Creative Christmas. I did not, she's just like, she just wants to be around me, so December is going to be guesting in the video today, I think. It says Creative Christmas, and so I'm going to read about like what it says on the back first. So it says 24 colors, a complete beginner's assortment, artist pigment in high concentration, fully reusable paint when dried on a palette, good control of paint flow, cadmium-free colors. So at the bottom, it's 23 half pans and then one large pan. So it's like 23 student quality and one artist quality. Yeah. I'm so excited. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making 3 videos after this video. That is right. 3 videos. And in each video, you're going to see me opening I think it's 8 days worth of the advent calendar. Obviously, like, I will kind of like film them on different days and compile it together. And then I'm going to be painting a piece of artwork just in the colors that I got on those 8 days. And in today's video, you're going to see me sketching out all 3 pieces of artwork that I'm going to be doing. So all of the art has already been sketched, already been drawn. So you're going to see the whole process. I won't have any, like, I'll have some control because I'm going to choose like which picture goes with which day myself, but I don't have like full control over what these are going to be. But I'm super excited. I think it's going to be really fun. So I'm going to be showing you guys the sketching in a few moments. But before I do that, I'm actually filming this on December 1st. So I think that in the first video, we should open the first day of the advent calendar together. So I'm going to open this plastic wrap and then we will open door number 1. Okay, so I took it out of its plastic wrap and door number 1 is right up here. So let's see what is inside. I can't get it open. That was a great face I just made. There's paint inside, yay! Oh my god, this is so exciting. Okay, so the first color that I got was Naples Yellow. Naples Yellow is one of my favorite colors. This is great because this is a great color for skin tones, and having already drawn all 3 of my pictures that you're about to see, I will tell you that all 3 are going to be yellow heavy. So yay for getting a yellow. So now that I've introduced the advent calendar and this series, I'm going to go ahead and show you these sketches. And you can kind of see all 3 of the sketches that we're going to be completing over the next 3 videos. So yeah, let's go make some art. Okay, so I'm sketching all of these directly onto the Arche watercolor paper in rough because it is my ultimate favorite watercolor paper, so I wanted to use it for all of these pieces. Generally, it's not really considered great to sketch directly onto watercolor paper because if you erase a lot on it, it can really damage the fibers, and a lot of times the pencil will not completely come off, but I absolutely hate transferring pictures to watercolor paper. So I thought about it for a while and I decided to sketch directly on it and just use a really light hand and a hard pencil, which is why I'm actually using a regular drawing pencil instead of a mechanical pencil like I normally use. This is a 2H pencil. I think it's like by Faber-Castell or Daler & Rowney, one of the two. Yeah, since it's a hard pencil, it doesn't put down as much pigment, so it's easier to get lighter lines with it, and it also stays sharper for longer, which is really nice. So for these 3 pictures, I sat down and I tried to think about how I wanted this to work, basically, and I knew I wanted all 3 pictures to kind of relate to one another, and I wanted them to be somewhat holiday or Christmas or like some kind of inspiration from there. And at first I was like, I could do like a snowman and Santa and like a deer or whatever, like traditional Christmas things. And I don't know, I wasn't like super inspired by any of those ideas. And then I had the idea of basically doing 3 paintings inspired by the 3 gifts that the wise men brought. So that is frankincense, myrrh, and gold. So this first sketch that I'm working on is the sketch for myrrh. So when I was doing a little bit of research to get some creative ideas for how I wanted to visualize myrrh, frankincense, and gold, myrrh was listed as a symbol of death. I also looked up on Wikipedia and it said that the plant that myrrh comes from is really spiky and thorny, and that the trees are like wounded repeatedly and they like bleed. Like gum, and then they like harvest that and it's like a resin, and it's like really yellowish and it darkens, and it gets like white streaks as it ages. It also has connotations with like being bitter and spicy in traditional Chinese medicine, and it's also considered a rare perfume, so it kind of has like a lot of different stuff going on. But the ones that I chose to focus on the most was being a symbol of death and the idea of like spiky and thorniness and the idea of like bleeding, kind of not in like a just more like when I do the watercolor, I think I'll use a lot of drips in this painting. So I drew this girl. I used references for all of the poses. I just think that my art is a lot better when I use references, and I really want to improve my art this year in 2019. And it's always better to work, in my opinion, like from a reference, so you're not just like abstracting from your head. And I basically looked through poses until I found ones that really kind of resonated with me, and this one especially resonated in me for myrrh, just because I thought she looked really melancholy and kind of like morose. So I drew that, and then I added in these big kind of giant thorns in the background. This isn't what the myrrh tree looks like. This is actually sort of a blown up giant version of like a botanical drawing of like the myrrh thorn, but I kind of imagine them just like sticking in the ground straight up and surrounding her. I just thought it was kind of cool, and I always like kind of taking a little bit of a weird vibe and adding that to my art. So that's what I did with that. And then for her hair, I kept it really, really simple and long and wavy, and kind of close to her head. And I also tried to keep her outfit relatively simple as well. And I wanted it to like kind of be tattered, and I'm hoping that with her I'll be able to work with some black. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how I work with the colors that I get with the paintings that I kind of have. This is my favorite painting, myrrh is, or my favorite sketch, I guess, because there's no paint on it yet, but this is my favorite sketch. I think it came out the nicest, and I'm really, really happy with it. I'm super, super excited to keep working on it more. I like actually didn't want to stop working on this and like move to the other 2 sketches because I was having so much fun, so I cannot wait to get started on myrrh. And yeah, that's kind of everything I have to say about myrrh. I don't think there's anything else I have to say about this one, but I like how it's come out so far. And oh yeah, I also gave her a tattoo on her back of like the more like leafy, like the leaves of the myrrh plant versus the thorns, just because I thought that looked kind of cool. And I gave her like these very tall boots and very tall gloves. So on to the second sketch, which is frankincense. So frankincense was definitely the one that was most tricky for me. So frankincense is an incense, and it says it's the symbol of a deity. And it's from the tree Bowellia. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but and it is studies have suggested that the scent can help to relieve anxiety. And it can also be used as a purifier in some modern magical traditions. So with frankincense, I felt like I had a little bit less physical stuff to go on, but I really liked the idea of incense and the idea of being a deity. So I really didn't want my pictures to be like religious or anything like that. I was just kind of inspired by the three gifts themselves. So when thinking about a deity, I kind of looked more towards traditional Greek mythology was kind of more what I was thinking, just because I really like that imagery, and I just thought it would be really fun to play with the idea of frankincense, especially like that being an incense. So I kind of imagined this goddess sort of like draped out and languishing. The other thing that I was thinking about was like frankincense. There are some studies that suggest that potentially the smell could relieve anxiety. There are like historical documents that back that up as well. So like obviously it's still like nothing, it's all just a theory, but there's just like a couple things out there. So playing on that, like the idea of her just being very relaxed and just kind of like chill was something that I wanted to go with. So I thought this pose worked really, really well for that, because she's just kind of languishing there. So that's kind of what I started with. This was a very, very difficult pose to get the anatomy on. I definitely don't think my anatomy is correct on it, but it was close enough for me to just like move on. Like nothing is going to be perfect. I'm still learning. Like just because I'm putting my art on YouTube doesn't mean that I stopped learning or that I am like perfect or like the best artist. Like no artist ever stops learning. Like so my art is always gonna, there's always going to be things that challenge me, So, but I am proud of myself for kind of pushing myself and trying a pose that is just so out of my comfort zone, especially the extreme foreshortening of the head is just something that I am very, very uncomfortable with. But I tried it, and I think it turned out pretty decently, like enough. It turned out well enough that I'm like excited to work on it still. So, there's that. And I gave her this like little poof thing. I think I'm going to use a lot of pattern in her picture. I also have the feeling I'm going to be using a lot of my metallic paints. For her hair, I wanted her to have really kind of long, flowing, curly hair, just kind of like draping and falling all over this like poof type thing. I think I want it to be black in my head, but I guess we'll see what colors I get. If I get like, what if like, I don't know, what if like they're in order, like what if they're in like color rainbow order or something, so it starts with yellow and like it ends with blue and like I get monochromatic colors. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, but I'm excited. I'm gonna scan these sketches in before like all the coloring starts, so I do kind of have like some sort of like record of everything. For her outfit, I wanted her to have, again, I was thinking of like the Greek goddess kind of thing. So I was thinking something very loose and blousey and breezy, especially this top is really loose and kind of pulled in and cinched at the waist. And I'm thinking it's like somewhat translucent, maybe like a little bit sheer. And I didn't want to give her any shoes. I just kind of felt like giving her shoes just didn't really fit with the vibe of the piece, and it would have just kind of been a cop-out so that I didn't have to draw toes. So I decided not to give her any shoes because honestly you could only see one of her feet anyway, so like I can draw 5 toes. I decided to cover the floor with these rugs and tapestries that I'm going to draw a bunch of patterns on when I actually go in with the paint, and I added in another poof over in the corner. I also wanted to add in a couple little extra details, so I added in a little bottle, which is going to be filled with frankincense, a little incense holder that is burning, and a little candle in the background. And that pretty much completes the frankincense picture. So the only picture that I have left is gold, and this was the first pose that I knew exactly what it was going to be, and it's basically a woman that was leaning over and kind of reaching down, and in my head she's going to be reaching down into a pool of pure gold and kind of staring, mesmerized by how beautiful this pool of liquid gold is. This was also a very difficult pose to draw, not quite as difficult as the frankincense pose, but definitely more difficult than myrrh. Myrrh was definitely the one that I struggled with the least, which is probably why it's the one that I like the most. I felt like with this one, it was really hard for me to get the proportion of the limbs. I felt like they kept wanting to go really long and stretched out, and then when I tried to shorten them, they looked too short. It was hard for me to try to find the right length without second guessing myself, and it was definitely hard to get like the hiking up of that shoulder. But again, I pushed myself to try a pose that is really out of my comfort zone and really isn't like a whole lot of things that I do. So I'm glad that I did it, and I think it turned out pretty cute overall, and I'm excited to go in and kind of work more on this one as well. And obviously this piece will be using a lot of gold, so a lot of yellow, and then I'll definitely be using some metallic paints and metallic colors on this guy as well. So again, I started with the process of like me sketching is I try to keep it very, very loose at the beginning and then kind of focus in on the details. It's very difficult for me to keep it very loose, but I just try really, really, really hard, and like I try to be aware of when I'm kind of like getting focused or lost in the details before I'm allowed to, I guess. That was something that I did struggle with during this. I kept getting lost in the details, but I kept trying to force myself back, and I think overall I like how all three of these came out. I decided to give the girl for gold a long braid, which will quite obviously be blonde, just because I thought it would really emphasize that kind of like looking down motion and that downward kind of linear thing that we have going on where her limbs are all kind of pointing towards the pool. And I thought that looked kind of nice. I think this hand may be a little bit large, but I felt like overall this looked okay enough that I could move on from the sketching. And a lot of times these things need shadow and shading to kind of, for me to fully see how the foreshortening is working, and how the dimension is working. So yeah, I'm going to be going in, I think, straight on top of the pencil, just kind of lightening up a little bit. So hopefully it will work out well. For her costume or outfit, I decided to give her a kind of like a bandeau strapless bra, and then it's going to be a completely sheer kind of gold glittery with like lots of glittery dots on it, and it's going to be high neck and then long and tight at the wrists, and then just sheer and just flows out over the rest of her body with an underskirt. So that is gold. And then I also put her in a cave, and she's kind of on an overlooking kind of like a overhang type thing. So yeah, that is the final sketch for gold, which I'm also honestly excited about. Alright, so that is the end of the Sketch With Me video. I hope that you guys liked it. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday, the 9th. That's going to be when the next advent calendar video is going to be going up. I am also going to be having another video going up that week on Thursday, so make sure you keep an eye out for that as well. I have a lot of exciting things in December, so I am so excited. So I will see you guys to color in the first of these pieces next Sunday. Don't forget to check out my Redbubble for any Christmas gifts, or if you want to get any merch or prints for yourself. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the YouTuber stuff, thumbs up, comment. It really does help me out. Like, we don't say it for no reason. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day, guys.